Welcome back, everyone, to another live session of Franchising with Faster. Joining us today is Chris and Belinda Dunn of 3 at 1 Business Centers. Today, we're going to be discussing how COVID impacts the way we do business and things going forward. Businesses must operate smarter to stay in business and to keep their doors open. Hello, and I also want to say hello and welcome to everybody out there who is watching today. Please hit the share button if you feel someone in your network may be interested in a franchise opportunity, or maybe they would like to start a business. Hit that share button so that you can share it with them, or tag someone in the comment box with you to watch this show about franchising. And in particular, we're chatting with Chris and Belinda of 3 at 1 Business Centers. So hello and welcome, Chris and Belinda.
Morning.
Morning. So I just want to say that 3 at 1 is now trading with almost 90 stores in 5 countries for over 20 years, and is a member of the Franchise Association, and has recently opened a store in Mauritius. So congratulations on your store in Mauritius.
Thank you.
It has been quite something. I was reading the article over there. So how has the pandemic hindered and benefited 3 at 1 Business Centers brand expansion and the process of onboarding a new franchisee by employing virtual communications and technology?
Well, Romany, it seems as if the has forced us to operate a lot more efficiently via technology. So it's in fact shortened our process of bringing somebody on board, and using the technology that has become more available and more easily operatable, so more people can actually use it. We find that our onboarding process has become much shorter. And the way that we came on board with Ashley from Mauritius actually was through her father, who is in Zambia, Chris?
Zambia, yeah.
From Zambia, he came across one of our stores in Zambia.
In Lusaka.
In Lusaka, and made the inquiry. We then did a Zoom meeting with him in Zambia, with Ashley in Mauritius, and did a remote meeting. And from there, the process developed, and we brought them on board. They're very tenacious franchisees and really bought into the process. And we're very fortunate that we were able to work with somebody like her and her father-in-law that really enjoyed the process of coming on board. I think we've lost Romany.
No, she's still there. Yeah, look, I mean, he approached us and we went through the process. We finalized the franchise agreement before the COVID hit, roughly sort of mid to end of February 2020. And obviously we started putting the process together, because we have done stores outside of South Africa, in Namibia, but in Namibia, Zambia, and Uganda. So yeah, we have a process that we align to with regards to building our stores outside of South Africa. When we started putting that together, then suddenly COVID hit, which obviously put us all in our back gardens for the next 3-4 weeks, and then it continued and continued and continued. Belinda and Ashley went on the site selection process using basically Google Maps, and her on the ground. And Belinda finally got a site together at the Cascaville Shopping Centre near Blackwater and in Mauritius. And we done the deal with Bro Real Estate, obviously here as well. And we obviously had to keep delaying the project because we weren't sure what was happening. And both sides of the fence sort of determined that come December 2020, things would be relaxed because it's a holiday season, and the airplanes would open up and the borders would open up. So we took the decision to enter the lease to commence in February this year. Enter the lease. So we took that decision, and obviously once we took that decision, you're at a point of no return. You've got to get on with it. So what we did essentially was we built the shop as we do here in South Africa. We put everything together in South Africa. We put it in a container, and our stores are flat packed in order to obviously reduce space and cost in terms of transport. with the idea that our guys would fly out to Mauritius to build that store. So we packed the container, it was ready to go. The day before it was supposed to leave the port in Durban, we got an email saying the ship had broken down and that we would have to wait for another ship. And we thought, oh, that's great because it buys some time. But unbeknown to us, the container was put onto another ship and the container landed in Port Louis, Mauritius on the 17th of December.
When the day after business closed down.
And at the same time, the businesses all closed down around us. I mean, it was
such a shock.
The fact that I've still got hair is actually a miracle. The bottom line is that we couldn't send our guys over, and we had to open the shop because the lease was about to commence, so the guys would have to pay rent. So we got some artisans in Mauritius to assist us. And we had to do the whole thing via video, via virtual communication. Our guys, obviously, this side know where every piece of wood goes in order to build a counter. But you can imagine receiving this bulk of timber and saying, right, now you got to put this together to look like this. And the guys sort of stood there and scratched their heads. So we had to actually lay out every single piece of timber to be able to match it to the counters, and we shipped out even the screws and the nuts and bolts and everything was shipped out. Our biggest problem was customs, both on South Africa side and the Mauritian side, which really were a pain in the butt. But we managed to get there, and what would normally take 4 or 5 days took us 3 weeks to put the shop together. And then the next stage of the problem was the training. And that was another thing that we've obviously never done before, where you actually got to train franchisees and staff on how to run a 301 store virtually. Retail. And that's, the point of sale system, the machinery, the equipment, how it works, things again that we would normally do in a training store and then add value by assisting the franchisee to open their store within their own store, we had to do virtually. So again, what would normally take a week or two took nearly a month. So, sure. But eventually we got it right. And that's kept us in good stead now because we've got a lot of experience from it. We've learned a lot of knowledge from it. And we get a lot of franchise inquiries. I mean,
just over the last couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days. I mean, we've got Tanzania, Botswana, Kenya,
India,
even India. We get inquiries from all over Africa today, and some very good inquiries as well. Whereas we are now able to say with confidence that we can actually open a store by remote control.
That's excellent.
For us, it was a nightmare of an experience because you've got these poor people on the other side, containers arriving, what to do, where to go, customs, demurrage costs, all sorts of things happening. And
that's why I say we couldn't have had a better partner than Ashley.
No.
She was so determined and willing to do whatever needed to do to get the job done with us. So the partner makes a very big difference as well.
What is that word you come up with?
Yes, sorry? It does. Partnership, it does. Determination, it counts for a lot when starting a business and wanting to get things off the ground. You have to have that determination because if you don't, so much can go wrong, and there's so many things that could just make you want to walk away and give up. And just listening to your story and the things that you've had to face, there could have been probably many times where you felt, oh my goodness, is this really worth it? Can we do this?
How are we going to do this? How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? And we just put one foot in front of the other and extended ourselves and kept an open mind and employed the technology that we had at hand. And we're very proud, and I think she's going to do really, really well. And I think that Ashley will expand the brand across Mauritius.
Look, I mean, they're going to be the master franchisees for Mauritius. And, we're looking at a 5-store rollout on that island. Hopefully, we'll expand into the Seychelles, which is not too far away, and maybe elsewhere on other islands. As I say, we've had a major inquiry coming now from Tanzania, which maybe Zanzibar becomes another island that we can hopefully visit one day. Yeah, we had ideas of going to Mauritius and welcoming everybody to open a store and sitting on the beach for a week, but it didn't quite work that way.
That thing was on our event.
Oh, yeah.
So we wrote an article where the heading was on our event. I don't know if you know that saying. It's like the one that sticks it out. Eventually you will win. No, it was a really great experience, and we're really proud, and we really enjoyed it after all.
Yeah.
And we really, this opens up the scope for us we can virtually open a store anywhere now, whatever the restrictions are.
Sorry, so you would continue the opening stores virtually. Would you say it saved the company money?
Yes.
Has it changed the dynamics of things going forward?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, efficiency, economy, the ease of communications, the lack of access. This just lifts the lid off of whatever opportunities there are out there. No matter what the reason is, whatever the reason is for the limitations, we can virtually overcome any restriction.
That's a nice feeling.
Very exciting. Yeah.
That's a very nice feeling. Nice feeling and position to be in. Which brings me to, I see that you've also become an essential service provider in the retail communications industry. So how did that happen?
Well, look, essentially in terms of the fact that when everything closed down, people had major problems with regards to being able to make copies of their IDs, to be able to print certificates, etc., etc. So really at the sort of like later stages of that total lockdown, we were allowed to open our stores in order to be able to provide those basic services to people that required paperwork that needs to be like commissioner of oaths to be stamped, etc., etc. So we were able to open. So from that point of view, we've become sort of, in a sense, an essential place for people to come who perhaps now are locked out from their work environment because they're working from home. They haven't got the necessary equipment or wherewithal to be able to do their job properly. And they come to us and they utilize our products and services in order for them to carry on with their daily work routine. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, and what is in actual fact happening is, even though people are restricted not going to their offices, they still need to duplicate and move their documents. And we are in a position where we can collect those documents and move them. You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to leave your environment. And never has it been easier, cheaper, faster to get these things done. And people rely on our franchisees to do that for them. So the whole market has changed. So our stores don't just have that shop front anymore, or just the back office where they will get their emails. They now as well, that operates as well as the other two levels of their businesses. And this is going to overtake the back office and the shop front business that we have. It's moving so fast. And it's really great that we can do so much more with so much less for ourselves and for our franchisees and for our franchisees' customers. So it's a very exciting realm to be operating in right now. And therefore, we are essential services. We deem ourselves as essential.
Sounds exciting. And it sounds like we could definitely look at different ways of doing business. Normally we seem to find ourselves in this box, and we want to do things the way it's always been done, and we don't often think that there's actually other ways that we could do things that are possibly more economical, saves you money, saves you time, saves you unnecessary burdens of having to travel somewhere, those kind of things that one doesn't consider, that actually adds to the time that and time is such a valuable commodity in today's world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we try to do, as Belinda was just saying. I mean, the way our operation works today is you've got actually two areas of business. You've got the front office, which is basically your retail store. And as important today is your back office, which is your retail store at the back. So, a lot of business is done today via email. Someone emails us something, we print it, do it, and then courier it out to wherever it's got to go to, because we're in that communication base, with the courier, with the email, with electronic information technology that we use. So yeah, it's changing, and this pandemic has made a significant change the way we operate. 18 months ago, you would never be having Zoom meetings discussing a franchise opportunity. We would have to go to wherever it was that person was in order to be able to have that discussion. Today, we're having a discussion. Somebody in Tanzania who wants to open up in Dar es Salaam via Zoom, and everything's done via IT, electronic media.
Yeah.
So it's changed the whole dynamics of the way one does business, and you've got to look at that and grab hold of it and change with it. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. You've got to, and the world changes, and when it changes fast, like it has recently, you've got to be able to change fast with it. If not, you're going to get left behind. It's as simple as that. Our retail models are changing. Landlords are going to have to relook at their whole shopping centres and reassess who they are, where they are, what they're going to do, etc., and how they incorporate their tenants and have a tenant mix. Because online shopping, not so much today in South Africa, but certainly online shopping throughout the Western world is growing at phenomenal rates. Today, people don't go to the shop, whether it's either for buying their groceries or whether it's a pair of shoes or a T-shirt or a computer or a phone or whatever. It's all done online. And we're moving into that market rapidly by our store-to-store courier service. So someone can order something from, say, Takealot or whatever, and have it delivered to a 301 store and collect it safely in a time zone that suits them, rather than the driver trying to get into a security complex or office complex or whatever. So these are things that we've added onto our system to be able to incorporate the changes that are going on out there in the world of technology. So if you buy 2 dresses and one doesn't fit, you take it back to your 301 store and you can send it back to the supplier. That's how it works, and that's the type of environment that we're moving into. And we've also just released now and launched our store within a store concept, whereby we can have a satellite store in a pharmacy, or say a spa or garage forecourt, etc. So this concept will grow as time goes on, because people are more and more used to doing more than one thing when they're visiting a particular retail outlet. Convenience. So if you go to the garage and fill up with petrol, you can go and collect your courier, you can go and print your whatever it is you want to go and do, have a cup of coffee and do everything you want to do at the same time, do your shopping in the Woolworths store. So these are all value-added conveniences that this pandemic has brought about in terms of changing the whole dynamics of the retail environment. And this is where we're going. You can't just rely these days on that one product. You can't just be a tobacconist and say, I'm going to sell tobacco because you're addicted to it. You gotta sell other things as well to go with it in order to be able to increase the footprint within your business to increase your revenue.
And that's what we do really, really well. We have a very broad range of services that we allow our franchisees to be able to provide to their customers. The broadest.
And we add to them on a continuous basis as we see a need.
Evolution.
We see a need. I mean, we're doing our promotional gifts. You can have printed T-shirts, you can have printed mugs, you can have branding, you can, these are the things that we're adding value to in our stores in order to be able to add value to people as a convenience, a one-stop shop. That's what we're looking for. And I think this is what is exciting about Africa, is that, we can move into Africa as such because there's nothing there.
and they really need these services.
Well, yeah, you can actually position yourself as almost like the go-to place for the career drop and go sort of business experience. I know, for example, in the UK, I mean, that's what I loved. We used to be able to go and collect and drop things off at a store if we ordered via one of the bigger companies like Amazon or eBay. So it just hadn't come to South Africa or even Africa at this point in time, and now it's here, and it's very exciting. And I think that even though overseas will be growing the online shopping experience, I think South Africa will also start speeding up and growing in that phenomenon. And I saw this especially in the initial early days of the pandemic, how a lot of companies had actually shifted their business model into being able to deliver things at your doorstep. So I think there's a lot of potential and opportunities there, and that sounds exciting, especially also for smaller businesses, your consultants, your one-man kind of home businesses. 3 at 1 then services that dynamic, because then you could be like a virtual office supplying. That's what I'm picking up. Is that right?
Because we're a lot more entrepreneurial. We're entrepreneurial. We're not a corporate restrictive, narrowing. We don't have that energy. Our energy is open it up, move, create the,
Yeah, like, I mean, because of our partnership with DHL, obviously DHL, and our partnership with Skynet for the domestic courier. I mean, we're able to add a lot of value to small businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take a small guy up there in Polokwane or somewhere that makes toys, he now can, using our collection and drop-off points, to send his customer who's ordered a product from him to any one of our stores in the country and outside of the country. And if you look at, say, for instance, our shops in Lusaka, they are also money transfer shops. They've added the money transfer Western Union to the mix.
Yeah.
So we allow that, because it's added value to that. Because a lot of money comes in and out of Zambia via Western Union and other bank transfers. Yeah. So we've added value to that. So if anything, it's got synergy with communication and business services. We'll look at it and we'll say, yeah, let's try it. Let's give it a go. Rather than just saying no.
No.
Everybody says no.
Yes.
Look at something. Yes. I just want to say, I just want to look at our audience chats here for a few minutes. A lot of hellos. Good morning to Eve. Good morning to Sakite. Wakil is saying hello. Monkey Nastics has dropped in saying a brilliant, perfect opportunity. Desiree Pather is asking, would love to know the challenges of expanding the franchise into other southern countries, especially Mauritius, Namibia. If possible, could you contact me with advice, please? So Desiree is asking for advice and would love to hear some of the challenges that you experienced when opening the store. And then Monica is saying, we legalize retailers. We are busy legalizing the 3 at 1 Douglas Dale Village. And then 3 at 1 is an amazing concept. We would love to offer our services to all franchisers and new business folks out there. And Derek is on. Sorry?
What did you say about Douglas Dale there? Did you mention us?
They are busy legalizing the 3 at 1 Douglasdale Village. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. We've got a long standing.
We've been there for 15 years. Yeah. Douglasdale, lovely franchisees.
Yeah.
Ed.
Excellent. And then Derek has popped in to say hi as well. So yes, would love to hear some of your challenges. So what were the challenges that you experienced when you expanded overseas?
The challenges is obviously the
it was definitely regarding the
bureaucracy.
Import export.
If you haven't done it before, it's a nightmare to get around. Particularly if you're dealing with SADC countries. I'll give you an example. You fill in a SADC certificate for those things that are manufactured in South Africa, so that they're duty free when they get to another SADC country. So we fill it in according to the South African customs, and we fill in the form and put the manifest together, and we ship it off, and it gets to Mauritius, and Mauritius says, no, you got to fill it in this way. So we can't release your container until it's filled in this way. So they send it back to us, and we fill it out again. We send it to the South African authorities, and the South African authorities say, no, you mustn't fill it out that way. You must fill it out this way. Oh. So it goes backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
That was the only problem.
10 times. No, the other problem was the ship. When the ship was supposed to leave on a particular date, it didn't. We were told it was only going to leave in 3 weeks' time, but someone put the container on another ship, and it arrived on the 17th of December, just before everything was closing for Christmas and everything else. And no one told us. We got an email saying your container has arrived in Port Louis. Oh, really?
Dear.
In Mauritius, different rules and regulations. For some reason, electrical wire wasn't allowed. We had to offload that from the container and go to the local hardware store to buy electrical wire. I mean, I don't know. But meanwhile, they didn't tell you that. They just say that there's inappropriate goods in the container. They don't specify. So it's sitting there in the port, incurring what they call demurrage costs. So every day that container sits in a port, they charge you.
Yeah.
$500, $100. So yeah, by the time you finish, you've had 3-4 days of demurrage costs, which is nice for the customs people, but not nice for small businesses trying to open. But these are the things that you have to come up against, When we done Uganda, the customs guys pulled our container completely apart, took everything out and left it there. And we had to put it all back together again.
Sure.
These are the things that you have to put up with. They just pulled everything out. They broke the sign. We had to ship a new sign up there. It's mainly the bureaucracy of government officials that drive you up the wall. It's not actually doing the other bits and pieces. It's the bureaucracy, the paperwork that you have to go through, etc., etc. You think you're shipping out container loads of diamonds or something. The way they go on. But these are challenges that you have to deal with when you're doing export. Particularly if you're doing one-off. So, I mean, if you do one and it's a regular thing, then obviously it's easy to do the paperwork the same. But if you're doing a one-off like we just did, it becomes difficult. Even Namibia was a difficult. Our guys had to get to the border. They couldn't get through the border. We had to turn around, drive all the way back to Joburg, get a visa, and then drive all the way back to the border again.
Sure.
These are things that you have to put up with. You're going to.
We're running out of time.
But you have to overcome it,
Yeah, we do. We're running out of time here, and I want to ask just 2 quick last questions. Can 3 at 1 offer the same broad range of services anywhere in the world as you do in South Africa?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Of course
with the exception of traditional
photography, photographic and subliminal services. Okay.
We can do. We've looked at Europe, obviously. I mean, we've looked at France, we've looked at the UK, we looked at Ireland, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland. We've looked at these areas, and there are, I won't say exact type businesses trading the same as us, but there are similar businesses. They tend to focus on one service only. Whereas we encompass a whole range of different products and services. It adds a lot of value to our business. But yeah, you can do the photographic, you can do the courier, you can do the printing, you can do the sublimation, and you can do all that stuff. No problem whatsoever throughout the whole of Europe, Canada, Australia, United States, wherever, Pakistan, India, you can do exactly the same. Obviously, you've got to look at each individual territory from a demographics and economic point of view to see whether your business is going to be successful or not. That's the big thing.
Which brings me to my next question. Which countries are you looking to expand now, and what type of options are you offering? For example, regional single master licenses.
Yeah, we've got three things going at the moment. For instance, like say in the UK, we're offering in the United Kingdom, Ireland, master territory licenses within a region. So England's split up into boroughs. You've got boroughs. So you've got Greater London, and within Greater London, you've got boroughs. So a person can have an individual store. They can buy the license for a borough, and they can even look at buying a license for multiple boroughs, and they can look at buying a license for counties. So, for instance, if you went to St Albans, for instance, that's a town, you can have a store there. You can have the borough of St Albans, or you can look at the whole county, which is Hertfordshire. So we're looking at that, and we're also working on the basis of if you went into an area like that, you could have a first right of refusal to move up in terms of becoming a multiple store owner, or going into being a sub franchise or in a particular territory.
But that would obviously apply to anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. Well, I'm just saying that as an instance. I'm just saying UK as an instance. It could be, you know, United States, could be Canada, Australia.
It could be Mpumalanga, it could be Limpopo.
Yeah.
If you want to apply to Africa and Southern
Africa. It applies everywhere. I mean, you know, we would look at individual stores and regional areas, and obviously larger territories.
Obviously, we've got quite a few, because a lot of we've been going for 21 years now. So a lot of our franchisees have re-signed for a new term, and a lot of them have second and third stores. So we have that sort of expansion going on as well, which is really, it's very affirming, and it strengthens the brand, because you know you're working with entrepreneurs and operators that are strong and experienced. So that is another way through which we expand.
And also believe in the brand, yes. So Monica was just clarifying over there. She says every retailer who opens up a store must have an occupation certificate. Some in food need trade licenses, etc. So I'm guessing that's what Monica was doing for the guys at Douglasdale Village, just getting their occupation certificate or something. Yeah.
I guess so.
The occupation certificate. Yeah, occupation.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's all we have time for today. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. I just want to remind everybody that 3-in-1 service offering encompasses DHL Express, Easy, 3-at-1 counter-to-counter national courier, Kodak Express offering, photos, collages, block mounting and photo book, as well as ID visa photos. 3-at-1 also offers business print, broad format print, and related services like binding, laminating, and so on. Stores also offer image transfers, and we have our own branding, and they have their own branding portal for corporate gifts. 3-at-1 now also offers business registrations and many SARS-related services. Franchisees can also apply to become a commissioner of oaths. So thank you everyone for joining us today. If you'd like to know more about 3-in-1 business centers, we will be popping a link in the comment box below. You can contact Chris or Belinda Dunn about franchise opportunities or anything you would like to know more about with regards to 3-at-1 business centers. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Chris and Belinda, for joining us today, and have a super week, whatever it is you're doing.
Glad to hear from you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Romany.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.